My GF, 28F, feels like her friends don't care about her. I, 23M, see it differently. My so and I have been under lockdown effectively since March. Her father is going through chemotherapy and is highly immune compromised, so we've been doing our part to stay distant from most people, and if we have social interaction it's either outdoors or with a 2-week break from her seeing her dad after. For the first 4 or 5 months of quarantine, she wasn't willing to see anybody. That 2-week rule is a new thing. Now, her friends are in less risky situations and have been able to have small get-togethers and trips up to vacation homes and stuff. My so was invited to these at the beginning but declined because if you're partying and drinking there's no way everyone will be distant. She got lots of invites to stuff. Friends dropped stuff off at the apartment for her, and they seemed to be making an effort. However, the pandemic hasn't gone away, and I think after a little while they felt bad about inviting her to things she can't attend, and have gone on a few trips without telling my so anything. I saw this as a clumsy way of trying to spare feelings/awkwardness. She sees it as a complete lack of care and betrayal from her friend group. Obviously if you feel that way, you're gonna get pretty upset. Last night, after finding out about a trip from a few weeks ago, she has decided that none of them care about her and that she doesn't have any friends anymore and that they all suck. I told her her friends do care about her, but she wasn't having it. I'm just surprised at the complete lack of benefit of the doubt she's giving, because even her friend who spilled the beans said, "I'm sorry we didn't invite you. We were all drinking and up each other's asses the whole time and I know you can't do that." Which would seem fair enough to me. I know why she's upset, but writing them off entirely is too much. Too long didn't read. Girlfriend feels abandoned by friends, but I think they were just trying to spare her feelings. Edit, this conversation was honestly like a big ol' warm Reddit hug. I'm gonna keep talking with you guys, but thank you all so much, seriously. The stress of the situation might just be getting to her and she is looking for someone to be angry at. Just let it go for now and be sympathetic. Is this a pattern for her though? Does she easily get upset or feel victimized by people under normal circumstances? Absolutely. I've learned that when she, or anyone, really, is running hot or is upset, sometimes it's best just to be available and that's enough. It is a pattern, though. I know it's a stressful time in her life, but that stress turns into negative feelings and anger, which turns into picking fights, which doesn't help either of us. Have they reached out and offered other ways to hang out? Virtual gaming, meetups, etc. I have an uncle going through chemo and it is hard normally, but in a pandemic the stress is exacerbated. Can see how she feels abandoned. If these folks are people she would look to for support or empathy, and she's not getting it, that's hard. Maybe you could do some problem solving here and try to arrange a get-together virtually or socially distanced. But if she's not already, I highly recommend therapy to your GF. She needs someone outside her day-to-day life to talk to and give support. Absolutely. He actually found out this new information while hanging out outside with friends, who reached out and made the effort to see her. So I get the feeling of being left out, but I feel like it ignored what was right in front of her. Virtual hangs were more of a thing at the beginning of quarantine. All her friends are back to work / some semblance of normal life now, so it got harder to arrange. Does your GF have any anxiety / panic issues? It's super common in those disorders to convince yourself the people you love don't care about you. Pandemic depression is real, especially for more extroverted types who need interactions with their friends to keep their mental health up. Couple that with a dad who is dealing with a life-threatening health issue, and it isn't really surprising she's not doing too well. Compassion fatigue is real too. I've got cancer, and while I am doing really good now, there was a time when I was pretty much incapable of doing anything due to chemo. My friends were great, and still are, but I noticed a major drop-off in people helping after a couple months, which is completely understandable. I'm not their partner or child and they are not professional caregivers. So it makes sense her friends were highly motivated at first, but have pulled back as the months have dragged on. Assuming her friends are decent people, I would maybe just tell them that while you understand why they are not inviting her, she is having a hard time. Being invited and kept in the loop, even if she can't go, makes her still feel like part of the group, as does the occasional drop-off or extra socially distant hangout. I guess she sees it like they didn't even invite her / extend the offer even though they know she likely won't go. So it's like they are excluding her. Would she feel comfortable having them over for an evening outside on the porch / deck / backyard, or at least a couple hours so she can feel included in her friend group for once since lockdown? She can wear a mask and sit distanced a bit for her comfort. Her friends could wear masks too. Alright, but here's the thing, she found this information out last night from friends who rearranged their schedules to hang out with us outside. Right in front of us there were people making the effort to spend time with her. Also, at the beginning of all this she was frustrated about getting all these invites that she kept saying no to. Maybe she's forgotten, but it did literally make her feel uncomfortable at the time. Her dog died back in June and her friends dropped off a card and a bottle of wine. They do care and I've seen it. Is it wrong for me, 24F, to cut contact with my longtime friend, 24F, because of her abusive relationship? My friend Leslie and I have been friends since middle school. She has a history of emotionally toxic relationships, but her most recent one with Henry is the worst one she's been in. Leslie and Henry met very shortly after her breakup with Brandon. She tends to enter new relationships with almost no recovery time in between. They began dating and she ended up spending a lot of her time with him. I thought everything was fine at first, met him and he seemed normal, until her mother tipped me off that something might be wrong. She explained to me a situation where Leslie called her very upset because Henry was screaming at her in public and being incredibly mean while on a vacation. This was my first time hearing about something being wrong, about 3 to 4 months into their relationship. Over time Leslie revealed to me many of the problems they had. I can't list everything, but here are some examples: screaming at her in public so much people would intervene, kicking and punching her car so much it is dented, relying on her for money, screaming at her over the phone, accusing her of cheating, threatening suicide, etc. I found myself worrying for her constantly. I would stay up late watching her location on Find My Friends. I'd speak with her on the phone while she cried. I had her over during fights where she couldn't be alone. I listened to her tell me she was afraid to break up with him, that he knew where she worked and lived. But she always went back, and I always helped her when it went south again. During their final big breakup, Leslie ended up with bruising on her body and the police were called. But it was over. Unfortunately, she entered a new relationship within a few months of ending it with Henry. This new guy was similarly emotionally abusive, but it was long distance, due to the pandemic, and I felt at least she was safe, but urged her to break up with him and to begin attending therapy. Well, she broke up with him after about 6 months, and got back with Henry the same day. She's hiding this from me now, but I can tell that has happened because of the way she dodges questions, how little contact she has with me again, and her Snapchat maps which indicate her in places where she always used to be with Henry. My ultimate problem is that I'm not sure I can deal with her being with Henry again. I want to cut contact with her for my own sake, because my anxiety was through the roof last time and I'm not sure I can deal with it again. It was a year of non-stop worry last time, but at the same time it feels incredibly horrible and selfish of me to draw that boundary. She acknowledged to me that he was abusive, that it needed to end, but is still back with him now. I understand the nature of abusive relationships, but this is a choice she is making for herself, and while I love her and always will, I'm not sure I can stick around for it. Is it wrong of me to want to cut contact with her entirely while this relationship runs its course again? Or is it okay to draw a boundary for myself? Too long didn't read. Friend of more than a decade re-entered her abusive relationship. I want to cut contact because of the anxiety and distress it caused me. Is it okay to do this, or am I leaving her in her time of need? As a domestic abuse survivor myself, I need to tell you that she needs way more help than you can give her. And she has to want help, she has to reach that point. I really hope she doesn't reaches out to a counselor, but unfortunately there's nothing you or anyone can do to make her come to that decision. You have to do what's best for yourself. It's incredibly damaging to your mental health and well-being to watch someone you love be used as a, metaphorical and literal, punching bag over and over again. I think you should tell her exactly why you can't be involved in her life anymore, and that you still care for her a lot, but that it's way too unhealthy for you to be around stand all this abuse. I would also tell her that you're genuinely scared for her and what might happen to her, saying this may help get through to her in the future when she thinks back on it, and that you'll be there for her if she ever decides to leave and seek professional help. That's the only way her pattern of picking these dangerous partners will change. You've done everything you can and you've gone above and beyond for her and in my opinion, been an amazing friend. But you can't help someone who doesn't want help. Now you have to do what's best for yourself even though it hurts that you can't help her or make her see what's wrong with all this. I'm so sorry you're going through this, best of luck. I've been in a very similar position to you and I did the same as you. Although in my case I gave my friend an ultimatum first. I said it was either me or the boyfriend. I wasn't going to put up with his second-hand abuse rubbing off on me through her and she understood. They broke up a few months later and she contacted me again and I was there for her again. Don't feel guilty although do make it clear that you want her friendship when she's ready to be alone. My guess is he's still been talking to her whilst she was with another guy and she's just being manipulated. Inform the police maybe too so she has support available in case it does get ugly. Thank you for your story, I really appreciate it. Yes, she had been speaking with him while with the other guy, but she unfortunately got into some trouble with the law while she was with Henry and she kept claiming to me that she had to stay in contact for the court case. I never really believed that was it and I felt this would be coming. Thank you again. You have become something that isn't often talked about in abusive relationships, the second-hand victim. You are being repeatedly traumatized by having to deal with the fallout from Leslie's bad relationships and having to cope with the frustration and fears you very naturally have for her safety. It's okay to walk away to save yourself. There's only so many times you can stop someone from walking back into a blazing fire before you start getting badly burned yourself. Give her one last message of love and hope that she can be ready to break the cycle one day and close the door on this friendship. Edit, thank you for the award, kind Redditor. What you're doing is not wrong. There is no need to feel guilty. As much as you're looking out for your friend, you need to look out for yourself too. If it makes you feel better, you can set your boundaries with her but let her know that if she's ever serious about breaking up / getting away from Henry, you'll be there. If she's really serious. But other than that you cannot handle the amount of anxiety, stress, and worry her relationship is causing you, and that you want to focus on your mental health. There's nothing wrong with that. So don't feel guilty. I agree with this mostly except the part about how the relationship is causing the stress. Feels more like the issue is a lack of normal boundaries. Op is doing a lot of emotional labor for friend. It's not just out of the blue phone calls or letting a friend couch surf either. This is deeply involving Op in the abusive relationship where they have no agency. That is a boundary that needs set. Dad, 59M, and Mom, 56F, were fighting and I, 21M, intervened. Now they're angry at me. I just graduated from college and I'm working remotely now because of the pandemic from my parents' home. They argue all the damn time. They were arguing a month ago and it got very scary with furniture and glass breaking and someone from our neighborhood called the police. No one got arrested. But I was so done with their behavior that I packed my bags to leave and they begged me to stop. My younger brother, 11M also was crying and wanted me to stay and I stayed for him. Now today, my mom returned home from work and my dad was yelling at her because she didn't cook lunch for him before leaving for work. The sheer audacity of my dad really got to my nerves. While this fight was going on I was in a meeting with co-workers over video call and they heard as well. I exited the call and lost my temper at them. I told them that they were complete idiots and really unleashed a lot of rage at my dad for being such a misogynistic pig. I told him if he was hungry, he could have just asked me and I would have ordered something. They in turn, including my mom, got mad at me and said that I get angry easily and that I am the problem. Is this gaslighting? And I swear I don't get them. I really feel for my younger brother because he's always so scared with this and doesn't know what to do. Now my parents want me to apologize to them for being disrespectful. They then make up and the cycle continues while I'm labeled as the crazy one for telling them to knock it off. This is a reoccurring theme and it's affect both my mental health and also my career because my co-workers think I live with crazies. I want to leave my house now, but I also want to be there for my younger brother because he's honestly traumatized. Felt that since I intervened in such a threatening manner while my parents fought and really escalated the conflict, that this should deter them from ever starting one in the future. Am I in the wrong here? Sometimes I feel that I do lose my temper, but honestly it's because of their sheer lack of sympathy for how their constant fights affect not only me but my younger brother. My little brother sometimes goes into the corner of his room and starts crying when they fight. When I saw that today, I stormed into the room and honestly lost it at them. What can I do? I want to leave, but I can't leave my brother with these crazies. I've told them that I want to leave this week and they start making excuses like it won't happen again or don't worry, this is normal in every house. This irks me the most because they normalize this kind of crazy behavior. They don't want me to leave and they're likely to create a scene. I have never been so lost in my life. I need some advice. Too long didn't read. Parents fight all the time. I want to leave, but have to stay for little brother. What to do?